let me guide you into the world of mathematical shortcuts. For example, the remainder theorem. We can use polynomial division here rather than taking -4 and plugging it into here. But that would mean we'd have to take -4 to the 4th power minus 14 times -4 to squared plus 5 times -4 minus 3 and then simplify and go through that whole process. We could use synthetic division instead. If we take -4 and we've got 1x to the 4th, no x cubed, -14x squared, 5x's, and -3, we could do synthetic division. Bring down the 1 times -4, -4, -4 is positive 16, which is 2. 4 times 2 is -8, which brings us to -3, which brings us to positive 12, which brings us to 9. Now, since this is the remainder theorem, we're going to use the remainder. The remainder here is 9, so what this tells us is p of -4 is 9. Don't believe me? Plug 9 back in here and check for yourself. Next, we're going to factor. And so previously we were factoring at most trinomials or things with which we could group the first two, group the last two. Here it wouldn't work, because if I group the first two, the common factor is x squared. Common factor between the second two is 9, but I'd get 2x plus 11 in one set of parentheses and 2x plus 9 in the second set. So it won't work out too well. But you get given this factor x plus 3. So we're going to use synthetic division. Since this is a factor, it should give us a remainder of 0. So let's check that. -3. We've got 2x cubed, 11x squared, 18x's, and 9. Bring down the 2. 2 times -3 is -6, which leaves us with 5. 2 times 3 is -15. Which leaves us with 3 times -3 is -9, which is 0. So good, awesome, fantastic, we have a remainder of 0, so x plus 3 is a factor. Now I'm going to rewrite this equation, this expression. So we get 2x squared plus 5x's plus 3. This here, we call this the depressed equation. It's depressed because it's been shrunk down from its original size. It's not depressed because it's sad and lonely. So now we're going to take this and factor this if it's factorable. If it's not factorable, we've already factored the polynomial. So 2 times 3 is 6. Factors of 6 that add up to 5 are 2 and 3. And then you can factor this with whichever method you like. There's that box method, or there's the Laft method, or the Laft method. So we've got the 2 and the 3 together. Rewrite the middle term. I'm just going to throw them into my factors because I know what the factors are, and they are x plus 1 and 2x plus 3. So if I'm factoring this polynomial here, they are the factors x plus 3, x plus 1, and 2x plus 3. Now finally, our last shortcut, we can solve these equations. Solutions, zeros, roots, all mean the same thing. Solutions, zeros, roots, all mean the same thing. So it doesn't really matter which ones of these you see. This problem's just telling you 2 is an answer that works for this equation. Figure out what the others are. The reason they can be called zeros is because the numbers you actually find are where the graph of the equation actually crosses the x-axis. So we'll look more at that in a couple of videos' time. Here we get told that 2 is a root. So I'm going to take 2 and I'm going to do synthetic division again. Now in this video I've done synthetic division all along because it's smaller and I don't have much space. You can use long division each time, it works just as well. So we get 1x cubed, negative 2x squared, negative 9x, and 18. Bring down the 1. 1 times 2 is 2, which is 0. 2 times 0 is 0, which gives us negative 9. 2 times negative 9 is negative 18, which is a remainder of 0. So that tells us there that 2 is actually a root, because again, I should get a remainder of 0. And that leaves us with this polynomial depressed equation, x squared minus 9. I'm going to set that equal to 0, because either the 2 is a root, or I'm going to get my other two roots out of this. X squared minus 9, there are two ways you could solve this. You could factor it. X plus 3, x minus 3 equals 0. X plus 3 equals 0. X minus 3 equals 0. X equals negative 3. And x equals 3. And by all means, they would give you your other two roots. So your three roots would be 2, 2, negative 3, and 3. However, since this difference of squares, you could also say x squared equals 9. And then we could take the square root of both sides. Since we're taking the square root in an equation, we've got to remember to put a plus or minus there, because I could have positive whatever times positive whatever, or negative whatever times negative whatever. And when I take the square root here, we get x. Square root of 9 is 3, so we get plus or minus 3. There's your positive 3, there's your negative 3. And that's how we get those three solutions. See, these shortcuts make life a lot easier. And you can use, again, synthetic division or long division. Doesn't really matter which.